Welcome to the Healing Lifestyle Podcast, a sacred space for living, healing, and ascension. I'm your host, Shonda Domingo, ancestral medium, movement healer, and founder of Domingo Training. Here we explore mind, body, and spirit practices for wholeness and ascension through meditations, rituals, ancestral connection, and holistic living. Take a breath, take a moment, let's begin.
Yeah, this will be fun. I'm excited.
Hi, everybody. Yes, welcome to the Healing Lifestyle Podcast. I am your host, Shonda Domingo, and in this lifestyle podcast, we're bringing you everything healing while navigating your daily life, okay? And I am so excited to have my good sis, the one and the only Dajvuette White, okay, with us today. And this month, y'all know we've been talking about purpose. We've been talking about really embracing your authenticity, all of who you are, okay? And Dajvuette we do similar work, which is why I love her so much. She works with people on their movement. She's a spiritual wellness coach. She's a master spiritualist. She recommends and works with people on their nutrition journey, their fasting journeys, their herbal journeys when it comes to taking care of their womb, when it comes to tapping back into their sexuality and sensual energy, when it comes to honoring the sacredness of feminine energy, healing wounds around that wounded feminine energy, and really bringing women back into their wholeness and their purpose through dance, through movement, through healthy eating, through her amazing juices, okay? All the things. So, Dajvuette, thank you so much for being with me this week.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. I know. We were like, yeah, girl, we about to do this. Let's go. So I want to just start by, can you please just share with everyone how you have come to be in the space that you're in the wellness space, in the spiritual wellness space? What was the catalyst for you to even start that path, start that journey? What were you doing before? How did you have this transition, right? People call it like a spiritual awakening, right? How did you have that moment of, that I'm being called to do something a little bit deeper and a little bit greater?
So, I want to say this. Before I knew what a spiritual awakening was, I was having them. So, and it was through movement, it was through singing, it was through dance, it was through praise, things like that. So my groundings are literally in the church. I was a little girl. I grew up in Baptist churches, apostolic churches, and we would have all night praises. We would have all night prayers, and it was it would put us into a transcendental state. I did not know that's what was happening then, but now I know now. So I was always a person where I used music, movement, and I used my voice to bring me into a different state, or to even ground me into the state that I'm in now. So that's when it started. I was always a little girl that was in the choir. My big sister knew how to sing, and she sung at weddings. She sung at my graduation. So growing up, I was just like, I need to be able to hone my voice because this is beautiful, and I just knew that it would be freedom. I knew that my voice would forge a way of freedom for me. So my mom would always say when I was younger, she's like, you can't sing like your sister, but if you keep going, I hope you will. Fast forward, I do have a beautiful voice, and eventually I was singing at weddings and services and church and things like that. But it started all as a little girl before I knew what I was doing at all. I had no idea that dancing and singing and these sorts of things would heal my lineage. Did not know that. So it started then. When things started really taking a huge turn, I don't like to put it out to people like this, but y'all, what brought it on was pain.
That's
Pain.
usually how it works. That's usually how it works.
It
You
was
be brought to your
pain.
knees.
It was. I had moved into my own home like in my early 20s, so that gave me the space.
Mhm.
And I started to heal my relationship to my body. by being in my home alone. Most of the time, y'all, I was in the nude. I should definitely be a part of a nudist site. And I had to go through the judgment of my family being like, why are you always like this, such and such and such? But God had blessed me enough to where I had that home and I had that space to be myself. I didn't know that I was healing my body image issues. I just thought I'm in my home, I'm comfortable. I literally moved out of my mom's house to do that. Like, I still have a room in my mom's home just because I never had to move out. I just wanted a space to fully be me. So I got into my own home and I started having these transcendental moments by myself. And it would be like, let's say, everybody knows that you struggle to get to your next levels. I don't care what anybody said. That's how you break away. So y'all, like, my bills would be behind. I wouldn't know how I was about to pay my electricity. I wouldn't know how I was gonna do certain things. But I knew that praise and worship made me feel good. I knew that putting on music and cleaning my home would at least take my mind off it for the moment. So I would do that, and for whatever reason, a peace would come over me to where I would talk to Source and be like, you can take all of this and I would still be okay. And in doing that, it just kind of grounded me into gratitude. It grounded me into not being the things. So not being the hair, not being clothes, not being the cars, but being like, you're okay just with you. Matter of fact, you're great with just with you. All of these things can go away and you'll still be you in that peace. So that started happening. And right around COVID, I had more time to move my body. And it's like the more I move my body, the more things I started to unlock. I started to unlock things that needed to be let go of, but I also started to unlock gifts. And and even the coming up on the things that are to be let go of, that's a gift, because there's probably generations of people who came up on that, or maybe never even came up on it. I came up on it and was able to move. I'm still moving, y'all, to move through it, and be okay with being judged, be okay with nobody knowing what I got going on. Y'all, literally, Chat GPT told me, you are ahead of your time. Like, all of your methods, your breath work, your movement, it is ahead. Like, nobody's doing this. And the only people that are doing this are people who are top performers. So that kind of made me breathe, because I'm like, okay, Chat GPT, thank you. Thank you. Because I would sort of feel like an alien, except for with people like Miss Shonda or other people who we would do the kind of healing that happened in churches. So it started there, and then at some point it just started taking over my life, y'all. That's still kind of happening. So
Now
where
I wanna give a little moment, because you said two really dope things that I
Okay.
want you to run back for people who may not know this. How when you begin to heal yourself, the energy of the healing work that you do goes back into your ancestral lineage, and you send that healing energy back up and through your lineage. And you were like, I was healing my lineage and I ain't even know. How did you come to eventually know that?
So I just got to chill all the way up my spine, all the way up into the pineal gland in the back, y'all. So it literally happened in a way. It was so organic. Everything has been so organic, and I thank Source so much for that, because when it happens organically, it comes from the heart, and it's like,
Right.
I couldn't debate it even if I wanted to. But it happened with when I started getting into breath work. When I started getting into breath work, and I'll say this, I am from a family where all of us are passionate. I'm not the only singer. I'm not the only dancer. And I mean, all of us are really great at it. Like, one of my cousins is actually like a famous singer. Like, all of us are really, really good at this. And when I talk to my grandma, my grandma says that all of them were trained to read, write, and sing. Like, read music, write
Mm.
music, and sing. And I don't know about my great grandparents and how they passed that down, but it's a bunch of us. Like, if you get us all in a home, we've got our soprano, we got our alto, like, it's a whole praise transcendental, literally. So, but it happened when I started. let me just be honest. Let me just be completely raw. Because y'all, Shonda is a space where I can be completely raw. So I started studying Dr. Joe Dispenza. And before him, I started listening to Jordan Peterson. I had a teacher. I was in school, and this is so weird, y'all. And this is probably gonna be a fire clip. So during COVID, I had time to sit down and go inside of myself. I had been a poor student my whole time in college. And during COVID, I got straight A's. I got straight A's. I got straight A's. I started moving my body more. I started actually training for hours a day. Like, I was just like, wow, who knew what slowing down would do? Who knew what slowing all of this down would bring into existence? So I had a teacher. His name was Dr. Hippensteel. And Dr. Hippensteel, nobody liked him. People will complain to the dean about him, but with him, he triggered something in me. He had me listen to Jordan Peterson. He would I remember when I told him a phrase about I take pride in my work, and he gave me a whole spiel about how pride could be the downfall of a man. He just tapped something. And I don't even think I ever met Dr. Hippensteel in person. But something happened with COVID, with me being able to sit down with me, and he sent me into just a rampage of listening to more lectures. So it started with Jordan Peterson, and y'all, what I would do, I would tap all of my senses. I did not know I was doing this at that time, but now since I facilitate doing it for other women, I know now. I would tap all my senses, y'all. So I would make sure I had something that smelled really great. So I would do the candles and the fire element. Didn't know I was working with that either, but I was working with the fire element. I would run a bath, water element. At the time, I was smoking, so I would do that. That was another element. I would put herbs in the tub. Like, it was a full on tap sense. So I would tap my taste. I have something cold to drink or fruit, and tap the different elements. And I would sit down, y'all, close my eyes, and listen to lectures, and just let my brain do whatever it was doing. So that started, and I started noticing I was showing up different in life. I wasn't as nervous. I wasn't as easily excited. I was more grounded in me. And not only was I more grounded in me, I started showing up differently to people because they were like, who is this person? I started getting weird looks. A lot of my family would stare at me, but then when I look back at them, they would turn away. Kids started following me around, all animals started doing different things, all kind of stuff
All
started
the
happening.
spiritual cues.
Yes. It's like I had tapped into something different. And what's crazy is it took about 3 or 4 years of me literally soaking in my tub, thinking it was just something I do to wind down, to notice, hold up, this is you tapping into the elements. This is elemental healing. So that went into me learning about Dr. Joe Dispenza, and his story is how he healed literally they told him he'd be paralyzed, but he healed it with breath work and sitting still.
Mm-hmm.
Sitting, because he's like, I can't move. I'm in a whole body cast. They told me I'll never walk again. Why not try this? That's his. And one of his favorite quotes that I love and that I retort is, thoughts are the language of the brain and feelings are the language of the body, and how you think and feel makes up your life. So I started to be able to separate my thoughts from my feelings, and I started to be able to tell certain things, you can't stay here. Like, I get that may have gotten me this far, but nah, that's not gonna go me to the next level. I was able to kind of not necessarily separate from myself, but yeah, look at myself from a bird's eye view and be able to make myself my own experiment. And this is when the real change came. I became radically responsible, where I'm like, all of this, I attracted it, I created it. And
Mm-hmm.
that took me,
Yes.
wow, to
When
where,
you go from victimhood to accountability, and
whew,
you accept that you are the co-creator of your reality with source, and everything in your life is reflecting back to you of what is going on down on the inside of you. The way you show up in the world, you show up with so much more yes, mama, so much more accountability. so much more responsibility, and then you become determined and open to really and truly creating it's a little scary too, right?
Very
Like,
scary.
because then it's like, wait, I can have the life I want. I just have to like think it and move in accordance to it. But now I can't blame nobody. Like, it's not nobody else's fault that why it's not nobody else's fault that my bank account is negative. That's my fault. It's not, oh, and it's that bank account being negative is also reflecting back to me that I am empty and unnourished down on the inside. Like, I'm in the negative.
Like all of this, like all of these are mirrors. So this relationship with this person taken from me is not because they are taker, it's because I've been abandoning myself. I've been taking from myself. I've been leaving myself, and that's why they keep.
Here we are. Exactly. So you went through this, like beautiful, organic. And so, just for everyone that's listening, when I use the term spiritual awakening, I'm literally talking about what Dee just said. Like that moment when you realize that you have to take accountability for where you find yourself in life. And usually it happens in this moment of, I always say it's a moment that sometimes brings you to your knees. And you are like, something has to give, something has to change. And you understand that the only way it will is if you do the work. And that can be through prayer, meditation. It's actually through all of it. Prayer, meditation, accountability, therapy, cleansing your body, moving your body, surrounding yourself with the right type of people. That's why I call it a lifestyle. Like, you can't just pick one bucket to heal
Mm-hmm.
and think your whole life gonna change. You
Yeah,
literally have to unearth that mug,
it's
flip
like
it over,
stop breathing. Like
uproot that mug, flip it over, lay down a whole new foundation, and give yourself the time to start right back into seed form
yes,
because you're coming back home to yourself.
I'm still coming back home to myself, y'all.
Me too, sis. Me too.
I am.
But it's beautiful and it's worth it. It's not easy, but it's beautiful and it's worth it.
It
So I
is.
really would love for you to, because I find that a lot of people might experience this when they're in this space on their spiritual path, right? On their healing path, where they're now opening their minds. They're now embracing neurolinguistic programming, right? Like, my thoughts matter, the way I speak matter, the what I watch matters, what I listen to matters, the way I present myself in a conversation matters. Like, really stepping into this, like you said, radical responsibility, right? Everybody around you not gonna get that. Everybody around you gonna be like, so you don't want to
Scratch
watch House
that.
Party?
Most people
Right,
aren't.
right. So you wearing crystals now? So
You.
so you gotta so you doing more than just drinking the tea. You talking to the tea.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. You
All
wait,
right.
what you know what
Okay.
you know what? See, no. Mm-mm. So how did and because you came from, right, you were born and raised in church, right? How was that transition for you when it came to stepping into this authenticity of who you felt called to become, who you knew you were becoming, and how everyone else around you was receiving and responding? What was that like for you, and how did you hold space for yourself during that time?
It literally took for me to mother and father myself, um, to start to see my parents as humans and not, you know, uh, these just not to see them as figures, but to see them as humans and to see them as they did the best they could with what they had. And that in me doing more, I'm also exposing them to more also. So I will say this. Even though I was raised in the church, so my grandma, I didn't circulate much time with her, but what I do know, and this is from people coming to tell me this, she was a master spiritual advisor. People would come from all over the world to talk to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do not know much. That's kind of all I know, and I just know that she was the bee's knees. So, I'm thinking that just that mixed in with just the music aspect of all the gifts of my family. And I'll put it this way. Let me just shout us out. All of us have visions. Some of us have them while we're awake. Some of us have dreams. Some of us are going up levels in this lifetime, because at first I would only have dreams, but when I started doing transcendental things, I started having visions while I was awake. Weird things happen, like we know when people are gonna pass away. Weird things happen, like even when I was going out and I was in clubs, I knew if someone was gonna shoot the place up or something. Like, just weird things have always been happening to me, and my mom has always accepted that. She's never been someone who's like, you're crazy, what are you talking about, or such and such. So even though she's deep into the church, she blesses my stones, you know. All of them are actually in her bathroom. She has several altars in her home. So it's always been a mixture of both. It's always been intertwined. And my family is so, like, we are a family of depth. Thanksgiving conversations are crazy. Holidays are crazy. Like, we might be screaming, singing, or we might be debating. We might create a choir. Like, who knows? And then my mom, she's a twin, and then there were 13 more of them, two more sets of twins. And think about, and all of us are gifted. Like, gifts are still coming out. I'm ready to have kids so I can see what gifts my kids are gonna have. Like, but I'll put it this way: my mom has always been open. She has never made it seem like God can only come to you in one way. She's never made it seem like you only praise God in church. No. She's always been a person, like, we would have people ride to school with us in the morning, and they still send me things. I've been out of high school for like 15 years, y'all, but when they hear certain gospel songs, they hit me up like, I remember this on the way to school. Yes, she would literally have little powwows with us in the car. She's like, yeah, all y'all can get in my car. Nobody knew when you got in her car you had to pray and you had to say a scripture, and we had to come together before we went into school. But that covered us. That covered us. So
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I can just say that my family has always been open. And I'll say it this way too: we love science. Like, my brother's a chemist. I have an uncle who it's like we are just so full of miracles. I have an uncle who, he was sentenced to, like, he was doing things he had no business, and he knows it, he'll tell you, but he was sentenced to over like 130 years maybe. He is out with like two masters right now. And before that happened, he started getting other. He was in prison and started reading and started studying and start like the science of law, and started getting people released. Started helping them give time back. So I just want to say my family is full of unorthodox stuff, full of miracles, full of people just defying the odds. So it's kind of like I just came and put the cherry on top with the way I'm living. And with that being said, too, my family still looks at me weird. Like, they're still like, how are you paying bills? I never see you in a work uniform. Never really see you complain. Never really see you cry much. I'm like, it happens. It's just sacred. It's not a, me and Source, I'm well equipped. I'll put it that way. I'm well equipped. So it's easy for me to be the person that people come to. It just is. Like, I have the hard conversations with myself. I've had moments where I looked in the mirror and saw anger taking over my body and was like, you can't stay. Who is this? Hold up. Who this is? You can't stay here. I've done things like that. So before, I was doing mirror work to say, oh, you're so beautiful and you're so wonderful. And I was calling things out on myself. Like, when I was anxious, I was in a relationship with somebody who was chronically anxious. When I was chronically depressed, I attracted that. And when I was full of rage, I attracted that. But the rage is what started to transcend things. If I
Mm-hmm.
had not met that angry man and saw myself in him, because that was the thing too. That was when I stopped doing victimhood. I was like, hold up. Um, I knew how he was, but I was connecting with him. So something in me felt the way he felt. And I had suppressed it. I had eaten. You couldn't tell me about duality. You couldn't tell me that I had any kind of darkness. I just felt like I was a perfect patty, and this was my thing since I was little. My voice was always really soft. I'm always really people pleasy. I know all the snacks that people like. It's such and such. So I think Source was like, "You're both, and your power is in that." So I think that was Source's way and God's way of showing me, like, yeah, get to know your darkness or your dark. And this is something I want to tell people: get to know your darkness, or your darkness is going to take over your life. You will want to get her on your side, and he, and alchemize her and let her know, because if not, then she's not going to be your friend, and she's still yours. She's still in your life.
So let's
So
talk a little bit, right? About so people who people when you say your darkness, right? Your darkness is that side of you that you don't like to talk about, right?
yes,
Your darkness is that side that you hope other people don't find out about, or that darkness is the side that you use to scare everybody off because you're too scared to get hurt,
yes.
right? So
Or
that
the
like
things you stuff down, things hurt
right,
you,
that
and you
rage,
just
that sadness, and especially for my recovering people pleasers out there. For us
please.
recovering people pleasers out there, that darkness is connected to what you're in denial about, right? That darkness is connected to the truths you still don't want to face because of what it means about you not being perfect, what it means about you possibly being rejected, what it means about the consequences that you now have to face from manipulating situations because you thought you were just trying
Mm-hmm.
to keep peace. So that
Mm-hmm.
darkness, you sitting with the truth. Not the truth that you tried to manipulate, not the truth that you hoping don't nobody figure out because right now everything is cool. But if everybody found out what you said and how you move in order to keep things cool, it will blow everything up. Acknowledging and accepting that you did that. Acknowledging and accepting that a part of you is capable of doing that. When you accept that, right, sis, that's when you can begin that acceptance. That's when you really find the grace and the compassion,
The self
like how the
forgiveness,
self-forgiveness.
the
Because
self love.
it's so easy to let other people be who they are. It's easier to put up boundaries, right? It's so much easier to be and to move the way you need to move for your peace. So like you were saying, that darkness, right? So having to sit with that, I think that that is so magical
Oh,
that you were able to take that is radical self accountability. Like, cause usually I'm gonna keep it a buck, okay? I'm just getting to that point. Listen, I'm spiritually spoiled. I'm gonna keep it 1,000%. My
I was too though.
ancestors, yeah, my ancestors, like, they put the right teachers at the right time for all the things. Like, I feel very, we all are. Like, we are all loved unconditionally, but when you really allow for yourself to feel that, you really be out here feeling spiritually spoiled, okay? But I said it to say, like, I had a teacher who would do, like, I'll call it back, and then this happened, and then that happened. And she would be like, first of all, you did that. Second of all, you can't even hear how angry you really are. You need to go sit with that anger, heal it, and go get your ish together. It was I mean, that was literally our dynamic for like 2 to 3 years. To the point where like now literally her voice is in my head. And when it happens, I can like my brain's like, ooh, accountability. Like, so it really, I think I just love that you shared that. And I think that's so important because when people start healing, it's so easy to start beginning to feel like I have to be love and light. All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. Yes, and you could also be like, what you said just triggered me, and I know what I'm capable of.
It's
So
your power. It's your
yeah, so
power.
I'm gonna go ahead and use my tools to regulate myself
Yes.
so that I can stay on the vibration that I know I deserve. So it's not about not ever getting mad again or not
Right.
ever being pissed off with somebody again. It's about accepting that you are capable and that is possible. And the
Yeah.
more you feel and do that nervous system regulation, you don't have to stay in that energy and in those spaces.
The
You can
refractory period is small.
exactly, yeah, that comeback period, it gets smaller and
Mm-hmm.
smaller. That response time, small reactionary don't even be a thing no more. It becomes
Yeah.
straight response time. It's
Yes.
smaller and smaller and smaller. So I'm just so grateful that you shared that part of your journey. So now, right, we in it. You in the mix. You out here doing your thug thizzle. Your family is dynamic. Everybody moving and grooving. Mom
Mhm.
is out here blessing the crystals. And you like, bet. Now I'm about to go change people's lives. How did that begin for you?
So people started to want to know what I was doing. They're like, you don't show up the same. You're not acting the same. You don't look the same. You aren't like me anymore. I don't know how to relate to you. Like, it was just a flux of different things. And I had a phase where this is when I knew that this would be my life's work and that it would literally haunt me down. I was haunted. So and this happened in my first home too. I've always been, and this is for powerful people, which I feel like we are all powerful. It just depends on if you want to tap into that or not. I had gotten to a point to whereas if I did not hone my powers, then my powers were going to be the demise of me
Mm,
because other forces were going to come in and use it. And it may have not been something that was heart led for me or even in my purpose. So once I started noticing that, I'm like, hold up, let me take inventory, let me keep myself and stop being all willy nilly. Because, like I said, I didn't grow up like I grew into. I was born a master spiritualist. Like when I was little, I couldn't tap on things because my mom was like, "You're calling things." Like I was thrown into it. I just didn't know how important it was. I did not know how important it was, didn't know how pivotal it was. I did not know that the whole world was run by energies and vibrations. I didn't know that. But it was normalized. Like my mom, like just the whole tapping thing, like we couldn't tap. If I lit too many candles, still my mom will come in my house and she's like, all these candles are yours? Don't buy anymore. Like she's real. And she's vocal about fighting demons. She's vocal. She's like, yeah, I was in my sleep last night and I saw three things and something's trying to come on our family. So I'm fasting. Like I came into, yeah, I was born into that. So I didn't know how much of a gift it was. I had no idea that it could even be put into form and be shared with other people. So what made me start sharing it was that I had started, so y'all, I went through which is, I'll just put it real small. Met the man that was full of rage, was in a relationship with him. Either we were going to evolve or somebody was going to die. I'm just going to be honest. We can both agree. Um had a red light bulb in my room. Like I did not know all of this was what was happening. I know now cuz I'm like, "Whoa. Whoa." Red light bulb in my room. And I noticed with him too, I didn't play victim and I didn't run. When things got dark, I was having fun. And I was like, oh, hold up. Hold up. This is something you need to like wait a minute. Whoa, whoa. So it was really me keeping up with myself and me being radically honest with myself to say, you are not a loving light. And if you are in a warrior mode, you are actually a damn good warrior. You are actually a beautiful tactical fighter and manipulative. Like if you wanted to be good at it, my love, if you this is the realization I had to come up on. If I was to choose those, because everything's a choice. If I was to choose those types of environments, I would be great at that too. Like it's sort of like why I respect strippers. It's still feminine energy. They just making the choice to use it for something else. I'm making the choice to use it to bring it into my community. They're making the choice to use it for what they use it for, but it's still the power of feminine energy. It's still, so I had to come to a choice, come to a crossroad to say, what you gonna use your powers for? You know you're powerful now. So what you gonna use it for? What are you gonna choose? What are you gonna choose? So after the rage-filled relationship, I started boxing, y'all. I started boxing, and somebody came talk to me maybe like last weekend, and they told me, they were like, we were afraid of you. We were afraid of you. Like, you were very happy, smiley, but we were afraid of you because of what showed in you. And for me, I just knew I was bubbly and happy and laughing and such. But I still can't go back and watch those videos of myself when I did start boxing and fighting, because it was a part of me that I did not know. I didn't know her, but she was here and she was moving things around. So I really had to give her her space. I had to give her her space and acknowledge her, or she was gonna come. I don't know whether it's Lilith or some dark underworld type something.
Yeah.
She was gonna come and like.
Well, it's parts of you, right? Still connected to survival, right? Even though, like, yeah, like you grew up in this spiritual and this safe, environment,
It was
knowing
like
that
a
you were
switch.
loved. There was still, because remember, some stuff is beyond just this lifetime that we come down here with, right?
Most things are.
Listen, Linda, okay, that's why we back anyway. So it's about, you know what I mean? So it's really about um what it feels like, right? It's like you still had that survival. I call it that dog. You still had that
That
dog
dog,
in you.
yeah, yeah, that
You know
dog.
what I mean? Like you still had
That
that dog in you. You know what I'm saying? That is like the only phrase I can overcome. I'd be like,
No,
ooh,
honestly.
dog, yeah,
But
like
I had to acknowledge her. If I would have kept trying to stuff her down and
right.
suppress her, it was like a fruit rotting from the inside out.
Mm,
And I knew that
mhm.
that wasn't where my heart was. I knew that internally I loved being peaceful. I knew internally that I loved that the art of war is not to fight. Like, so I kind of had to make a choice, either to become what I had been through or to be who I knew myself to be. And so this happened. I went through a phase because I've always been really spiritually aware. It did not matter if I was addicted to opioids, if I was in an abusive relationship. I have always been completely spiritually aware, which, thank you, Source. Thank you. So, but I think that's because I'm supposed to tell a story. I went through that. I went through those rites of passage to be able to help people through domestic abuse, to be able to help people through and out of survival mode, or to even know what it is. Like, you don't have to live that way. I went through this phase, Shonda, where I was afraid. This is a thing. Since I was little, since about 2, my mom did not accept fear. If you were afraid of something, you would hide it from her because you knew that she was going to make you face it.
Mm.
So even if it was the dark, you know how kids are. No, that was not acceptable in her home. It was not acceptable because she's like, when you welcome fear, you welcome that sort of energy, and I'm not teaching you to do that. So I say that to say, I tell you my relationship to fear to tell you this. I was in my home and I would be scared. And I'm just talking to God, I'm talking to Source, and I'm like, what is this? So I went through everything in my head. I'm like, is it the neighborhood that I live in? Maybe it's the energy that's happening around me. I am more energy prone. I'm growing in that. Is it that? I'm like, nah. I noticed I wouldn't turn the TV off at nighttime. So I'm like, what is this? What is it? Are you afraid that someone's gonna come in your home? Are you thinking it's somebody around you? Is it the energy? This might have took 2 years, Shanta. Like, of me, nobody knew because I wasn't talking to somebody about it, but I knew what was happening in my head, and I knew. I always, at the end of the night, it's always just me and me, and I always make sure I have that time to do inventory of the day, inventory of my mind, my heart, everything. Even when I wasn't letting things go and I was holding on to, I still did the inventory. I knew it was there. So I'm just searching myself, and I'm like, what is this? Because you aren't fearful. You weren't what is this scariness? One day I had a shotgun house. Y'all know shotguns are native to New Orleans. I had a shotgun house, and I got to the point where I'm like, you're gonna turn this TV off at nighttime. Cause like I said, I was trained to face my fears. I wasn't trained to hide around them. So soon as I got it into myself, like, you don't want to turn this TV off at night. What's up with you? So I started turning the TV off, and yo, it felt like, you know how in a scary movie when you feel like somebody's about to get you? It feels crazy to say it out loud, but that's how it was. But I had to face that. So I'm sitting with myself in my home alone in the dark, y'all. And I'm like, you gonna turn this TV off. Turn the TV off. And I'm sitting there, and at this point, I'm crying out to God now because I'm really scared. I feel like somebody's gonna come get me. I'm like, Lord, because y'all know I'm my grounding
Mhm.
is wholly sanctified. So I'm like, God, Lord, what is this? Do you know my voice came to me? I'm sitting at the back of the house. You know, you can see the front door in the shotgun. I saw the little peephole, and I just remember this is a moment that changed my life. That's why I remember it to this detail. I'm sitting on that little sofa. I'm looking through my house, all the way through the hall, all the way to the front thing. Do you know my voice came to me and said, "It's you. It's you you're afraid of. This is not some outside thing. This is not something on. It's you. It is you." Changed my life.
Mm.
Changed my life.
So when it said it's you're afraid of, was it your bigness? Was it your destiny? Was it just you as a person, your being? What was
it
that for
was
you?
it was my power. It
Mm.
was my darkness. It was I was afraid to face myself and forgive myself. Um I was afraid to walk in my power. Um I was afraid to let go of the life that I thought was comfortable, but it was really just a cage that I had created for myself. But all of these thoughts just flooded. When the voices came and was like, "It's you you're afraid of," all of that came. And I just was like, "Oh wow, now I really need to go box." Now I really need to move. And through the boxing, I kind of what was crazy, and people say it's weird when I tell them this, but that softened me. It took all the layers off. It started to alchemize all of the anger, all of the feelings of unworthiness, all of the pain that I had stored down. And I'm sure my ancestors had stored it down too, because a lot of the stuff I come up on, look, y'all, nobody is saying this, but I got to tell you this. You are gonna come up on generations of trauma when you start to move your body. This is
Mm.
not something to be afraid of. This is something to empower you. It's gonna it
It's
won't be
stored
scary.
information. It's stored information.
Stored and yes.
It's stored information. It's stored memories, but like you said, it's also stored power. So it's your ancestors leave you their pain, but they also leave you their gifts. They leave you their power, right? When they leave this earth. So yeah, you might have that right attraction to to a certain kind of man that ain't healthy for you, right? They might have left you with that pain, but they also might have left you that power, right? Of vision, of connecting to the earth, of being able to heal yourself through movement as
Mhm.
medicine, through herbs as medicine, through sound and frequency as medicine. And then when you begin to heal the pain that they left in, like how we said earlier, right? That energy goes back. And when you send that healing back to your ancestors, if you think they not about to come through and look out for you for a nice 1-2, because that's unconditional love. Our ancestors are connected to that source. They are connected to God's source. They are connected to that unconditional love. So when you start moving your body and it is intentional to release you, to break you free, to get them things up off of you, when you move
Literally.
with that level of intention and that ripples back down your lineage, it just strengthens and amplifies, and you become even more empowered with the gifts, the strength, the stories, the wisdom, and the lessons that are already living in your body. It awakens it and it makes
It's already
space.
here.
It makes space for it
Here.
to come alive. It can't come alive when it's fighting your limiting beliefs. It can't come
Hmm.
alive when it's fighting your fears and the doubts. And when it does come alive, it feels like a burden and not a blessing. But when you make
Yes.
room for it, right, it gets to take up this really beautiful space in your body that I almost like to think becomes wings.
It does. It's so crazy you said that because what's weird is in boxing I did gain my wings. It happened. It's crazy. It happened physically, but it was happening in the
Spiritual,
supernatural
absolutely,
world
always
too.
happens. Whatever happens in the spiritual has to manifest physically, so you can actually
Yes, it
believe
was
that it
happening. So
happened.
I'm like, hold up, I got my wings. Wait, and I still have them, y'all. I haven't like I literally do combat training maybe once a month, and my like I'm shaped like a superhero. Like the wings
You
never left.
are like for real, for real. Like y'all, her body is
Donuts. I love donuts, y'all.
her body is no joke. Y'all can sit up there and look at that head wrap and that comfy shirt if y'all want to, but her body is no joke. No
I thank
joke.
God for it though. But
So
when I talk to people, it softened me.
yeah.
You think you start to face your anger and you become more written. No, it softened me. All of that fell away. I started to have compassion. Somebody asked me, they said, well, how do you feel about anybody that you think may have abused you? And I'm like, compassion. And we never went on a date again. They were like, what? What do you mean compassion? I'm like, I forgive I forgive myself, so I forgive you. It's
Because
okay.
you understand that you attracted it. And but that also takes a deeper level of healing to get to that space, right?
Yeah.
And so how are you teaching other women, right, to embrace their bodies, to embrace this way, right, of living? What does that look like in your work and how you serve?
So, y'all, I'm not gonna even lie. I started training because I thought that that would be best. I thought that people gym ratting would be best, and I'm sure Shonda's gonna have a mouthful about this because she's somebody who actually helped. She did not know that she was helping me, but baby, she was helping me. Um, I started to train, y'all, and I must have forgot who I was because guess what happened, y'all? People started crying during my sessions. People started breaking down during my sessions. And I noticed this is when I started getting into somatic exercises. This is when I started noticing that it did not matter how much healthy food I ate. It did not matter how many great books I read. It did not matter what kind of environments I was around until I started to heal my living system, which is the nervous system, and started to acknowledge survival mode. And become aware of what were my triggers and literally just release that and step into abundance, step into the fact that I am money. I can't run out of something that I am. Um
Wait, I'm
like
sorry. Say that again for the people in the back. Say that again for the people in the back.
like yeah, like but like I said, I had been being trained. Like those gratitude praises and things I was doing in my old home when I was still riddled with anger was preparing me to this phase now where it's like, hold up, these things aren't me. I make the things. I slow the things down to bring them into form. And yes, let me say it again, people in the back. I am money. You can't run out of something that you are. That spirit. We put religion and we throw all this other stuff on it, but spirit is the birds chirping. Spirit is the grass growing. Spirit is the seasons. Spirit is the duality. The so it's just like the way that I was able to start helping women was to be more honest with myself. And when we did trainings, like I said, I must have forgotten who I was because it was putting people more in survival mode, especially women, because they weren't seeing it as a way to.
Mm,
They were seeing it as another job. It was throwing their bodies more into a stress response. HIIT workouts, boxing, high intensity stuff. It was throwing their bodies more into it. And I didn't know this until I went through it. When I started looking my best, y'all, I went through another deep dark night of the soul. Body started looking good. And I'm like, nobody knows I'm not okay. And if I would tell them, they wouldn't even believe me because I look so good. I go to the gym every day. And I'm like, oh, I can do all of this and still not be okay. So that's what made me start being like, okay, let me take off all the mask. Let me unmask it, y'all. Look, it's a lifestyle. You can't just go to the gym and eat a couple of fruit and think you're gonna be all right. Nah, like you're gonna, yeah, you can eat organic and you're gonna produce organic stress hormones. Like,
I used to say, you can have a six pack and still don't like yourself. That's when I was personal training. That's what I used to tell my clients. Like, you can have a six pack and still don't like yourself.
and what happened to me, y'all, was that spirit, like I said, spirit grabs me around the neck. So spirit grabbed me around the neck, and Shonda, y'all, I'm being intimate with y'all only because it's through Shonda. Only because it's through
I
Shonda, baby.
appreciate you. Okay.
But because this is something that's still kind of fresh. And you know, because I was talking to you about it, but I would take my gym clothes, y'all. I'm a positive Patty. I'm disciplined Darcy. I would take my gym clothes, y'all, and I would put them, it got so deep, I would put them in the window of my car, and I was pulling up outside of the gym and crying. I could not go in. My body did not want that anymore.
Mhm.
And that's something that I'm still kind of, I ain't gonna even lie, I'm struggling with it. I'm struggling with it because my ego want to go get a pump and have a fat ass. Excuse my language. But spirit is like, you need to do somatic exercises. You don't
Yep.
need to touch another weight. You need
Mhm.
to dance and cry. You need to say these affirmations. You need to sit and do nothing. You need to soften.
So I'll share this with you, and I pray that it helps. So I because yeah, I don't think you know this, but so before I had the boys, I had just finished bodybuilding. I had just came out of bodybuilding, so I know that. I mean, I was the girl that was on the stairmaster for an hour at 5 in the morning. So I totally understand where you at, right? And when I started healing, what I noticed, especially when I started using movement as a way to heal myself, my body could not, like, my body would inflame when I started doing weight training. And I was like, this is defeating the purpose. I just want my muscles back. Like, I was like, I just had these kids. I just want my muscles back. Like, why is it this? I don't understand why you're swelling up on me. Like, what's the problem? And I literally, it was an ego, right? It was so painful to know that I could not just go get my booty on a stairmaster and go hit the Smith machine and like how you see, right? And just go like get my post mom body back. And my body was like, I'm healing now. That's gonna be a no for me. And even if I tried, I would get sick. I got tired. Like I wouldn't last in hit workouts like at all. But when the more I was like, okay. Spirit was like, can you please go do some yoga and go like sit in the sun? And it was crazy because when I started doing those things, that's when all the weight started dropping off. And the more I healed, even if I could go 2 weeks without working out, but I was doing healing work and was still losing weight. So that's how you know what you're like shedding and healing in the spirituals. It manifests on you physically. Now, I will say this because we talked about this before we started recording. I did my first hit workout in 5 years last week. But what was cool about it was I think spirit let it be intentional because I had to remember how strong I am because
Yes.
I'm in a journey of really trying to tap into my strength and my courage. So I feel like spirit was like, we're gonna let you go do this little hit
That's why I
workout
do the combat
for a
training
minute.
once a month. I gotta make sure I'm
But I
feeling
but I
nothing.
don't pick up the heavy weights like I used to. Like my ego used to be like, we gonna get these 20s,
Yeah, we gonna
we
pop
gonna bang
these.
these deadlifts out. My
Yeah.
body was like, and we gonna grab these weights and we gonna
Yeah.
deadlift and we gonna
Do you
hammer
know that I
curl.
don't even want to wear
And we
pants to the gym no more? Do you know I didn't realize I want to dress? Give me some dry
listen,
fit dresses.
I feel you. I feel like my mama be in the spirit world like, oh, now you want to wear a
Now
dress? Now you want to paint your nails? Now, when I was down there trying to get you to be soft and slow down, you ain't won't talk about it. Oh, she's like, but you know what? I love that for you. But also, I feel away. But I love that
yeah.
for you. So no, so I love that you took. I think that's why I enjoy talking to you so much, because our stories have so many, the path, even though it's two completely different journeys,
God, do I
the
needed
path
you.
of, and I feel like everyone's like that, right? Everyone who kind of shares their gift with community and with clients, you take what you've experienced for yourself, and then you get to show people how to really do it for themselves, you
Mm.
know? And so I just love that your work, that your journey has gotten you into this space where you get to show people how to live differently and how to move pain and trauma, whether it's this lifetime for them or ancestral, right, out of their bodies. But also, what I love that you share with us is how intimate the journey is and how it really is a intimate relationship at the end of the day. And I always give honor to the ancestors, but even ancestors aside, at the end of the day, it is an intimate journey between you and your creator, you and your source, you and the divine, you and God, you and spirit, however you want to name it or call it, and put a bow on it. At the end of the day, it is that intimate journey, exploration, accountability, coming to that unconditional love. And what I've learned is that your purpose, your authenticity, that is what you get to uncover
Yeah.
when you're in those spaces and you're in those moments. And how you got there is what you get to share with the
Mm-hmm.
world if if you so choose to do
This is the
so
first
so
time people
boldly.
getting this story too, y'all.
Oh, I
Nobody
got
else
an
knows this.
exclusive.
No, the exclusive. Nobody else knows any of this. Have never. Like, I kind of just came out and started doing stuff, and everybody was just like, "Okay, I guess
Yeah.
this is what she do now. Okay, so she's doing that now. Okay, so she's doing that now." Like, people who are like like my closest of closest
Mhm.
friends are still like, "Who is this new person? I like her. I like her. I don't know her. I don't know her, but I'm willing to get to know her." And that's the beauty in it too. The beauty in it is you get to see different versions of people by you showing up as different versions of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I have, y'all, my mom is so bullheaded and so stubborn. She from the desire. She a night wall soldier. Me softening has softened her.
Mhm. Well, remember that energy trickles back. So it doesn't go just to your deceased, well, it goes to your ancestors, but that energy ripples into the people who come in constant contact with you, especially when it's people that are, related to you and in that lineage. They, even though they may still
Such a
have their
blessing
own,
to see y'all.
right? So they're like, even if they still have their own wounds to go through, you lighten the load because of the work you've done, especially when you get to live by example. And like how you say your mom is open. So when you get to live by example and you have someone that is open, that
She was not open from jump. Nobody be open from jump.
listen, but she got to see the change in you.
Yeah,
And right? And
that's what opens people.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. Okay. Tell people how they can stay connected to you, how they can keep in touch with you, how they can work with you, how they can support you.
So, you guys, what I offer is literally like, I can help you build your whole lifestyle. So right now, my signature offer is a holistic health and wellness consult. So what we do, this is for busy professionals. This is for moms. This is for dads. This is for people who have like careers that are demanding. Literally, I have lawyers in my group. I have business owners, people who are professionals. This is for you. This is why it's for you. Because not everybody may have 2 hours to go sit in the sun like me and Shonda. And sometimes we don't even have it. So that's why we create micro practices for you to ground yourself in your day. So that might be a 5 minute car stretch. That might be a meditation in the morning while you're brushing your teeth. That may be you doing a Zoom call with me during your lunch break. Like, different things. So I do that. I put the spiritual practices together for you. And what I focus on is how you wake up and how you go to bed. Um, because that's normally the time that everybody has for themselves before they hop into the day. Once you're in the day, you're in it. You're already rolling. Things slow down normally for you, it's including your brain waves in the morning and at nighttime. So that's what I do too. I sprinkle some brain health in there to, kind of relate it to how we work as humans, how men are chemically built, how women are chemically built. And y'all, I'm still learning too, so you get to get it as I'm getting it. Grow with me. And on top of that, on top of the holistic health and wellness plan, you get nutrition, you get brain health, you get daily check-ins, you get like 30-second, 15-second videos just to ground you into your best version of yourself and remind you that you're already the best version of yourself. It just takes for you to make that decision. On top of that, I am not training, but baby, we dancing. We are dancing. So we talked earlier about how I did the soaks, things like that. So what I do, I actually have a dance event coming up. It is March 24th, y'all. We are dancing ourselves into better health. This is the thing.
May
Um,
24th.
yes, May 24th, y'all. May 24th, go get the tickets. You can like reach out to me. If you reach out to me though, I might just give you a coupon code.
Ooh,
So this is the thing. And I love science because when you tell people the what, the why, and the how, like when you tell people the what and the why, the how gets easier because you have the intention. Have the intention. So I went through dozens and dozens of graphs, read dozens and dozens of articles, and dance scored top above weightlifting, above swimming, above boxing, above yoga, above all, dance scored top as therapy for depression, as therapy for anxiety, as therapy for feelings of unworthiness. So on top of my body just being like, baby, we want to dance, we don't want to lift no weights, the science is letting me know why, because it takes you into a transcendental state of bliss. You forget everything for that moment. You forget your problems. You forget that you're a mom. You forget that you're a business owner. You forget all of that, and just in the you're there, right? It's what we would do when if you ever would drink or you would smoke or you would go to the club. We're just doing it with intention now. So we have no, really, really.
no, that's
So
real.
we
That's
have,
why I'm laughing. I'm like, real? Yeah.
it's the same thing.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
we have that coming up, and I send everybody home with a kit so that they can do this on their own. It is not for you to have to be under my wing the whole time. The thing is for me to teach you and for you to gain your own wings, baby. So we send you home with the 7 chakra sage for your energy centers, with affirmations for each energy center, whether it's your crown or your third eye or your throat, different journal prompts. Like you have a whole kit to go home and love on yourself. You get a herbal soak, you get blessed oil. Everything is made by me. I mean, the sage and the Palo Santos, of course, that's outsourced, but the body oil, the affirmations, everything is stuff that I have used, and y'all, it has worked. This is something too, Shonda. I don't know. Maybe I think we should do this together. I was thinking to do it on my own. Maybe we should do this together. So I've been looking into the articles about affirmations, right? Because like I said, I'm getting people who aren't into spirituality, bridging science and spirituality. So the science of it is that you repeat something 9 times a day for 20 days, it starts to reprogram your brain.
Yep.
So I'm
Neuro
like,
linguistic programming. Yes.
that sounds like a
Mhm.
21-day challenge.
Stay tuned, everybody.
Stay tuned, everybody. But yeah, so that's what we have coming up. We have the holistic health and wellness consult where you literally get a full plan, y'all. It's worth over $1,000, but I'm like giving it away at like $200. And two, you get access to me and all of my knowledge. I also offer my juices, y'all, which
Yes,
right
her
now I'm
juices
doing
are
juice cleanse.
amazing.
Even the
So,
kids love them. The kids are the
yes.
juices are kid friendly.
Yeah,
They
because the boys drank all my juices. I felt away. I was like,
they
did
are
y'all
kid
not give
friendly.
me any? Yeah.
Because they need it too. So the juices start off at $10, but I do it all the way up to the gallon. And with that too, I give you resources. So I give you a grocery list that's full of color, different meals. Because the thing is y'all, I'm Southern and I like great food. I love seafood. I don't believe in restrictive dieting because I love food. But what I do believe in is eating to live. And what I want y'all to know is you can eat like crap for decades. You start eating fruit first thing in the morning and your gut is literally going to cleanse and your body isn't going to want the same things anymore. Like it's way more easier than what we try. Like you do not punish yourself into being better. I don't care what anybody says. You might have struggles, but you don't punish yourself into becoming better. That may be a feminine way to look at it, but when I was punishing myself into getting better, some things got better and some things got worse. Says the whole feminine side of my body, where the shoulder cracks, the hip cracks. This is your feminine side, right?
Yep, your left
Your
side.
left
Mm-hmm.
side?
Yep,
Yes,
left
y'all.
side.
So
Yep.
I gained my wings, got a beautiful body, became a holistic health and wellness coach, and now I can't even lift weights because the whole feminine side of my body is like literally. So I went through that so you don't have to.
And I'll put the link in the show notes to Dajvuette's Instagram handle, how you can contact her. The class is here in New Orleans, but if you want to work with her virtually through coaching, make sure you slide through her DMs or send her an email. I'll put all of that information in the show notes. Dee, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful spirit and your beautiful story with us. I learned some things about you. So I'm like, ooh, yup, yup, yup. So thank you so much. I'm going to actually have her back in July when we really go take a deep dive into movement as medicine. So until then, stay connected. Follow
Yes.
her. Thank y'all so much for listening to the Healing Podcast. Keep going, keep growing, keep healing. And I'll see y'all next time.
See y'all later.
Thank you for joining me on the Healing Lifestyle Podcast. May today's reflections support your healing, your ascension, and your wholeness. To deepen your journey, book an ancestral reading or explore my new ebook guide, Chakra Wellness. This gives you the foundation for healing with crystals, herbs, and movement. Visit DomingoTraining.com or connect with me on social media at Domingo Training. Until next time, keep going, keep growing, keep healing.